So if you've never solved the 3x3 Rubik's Cube before, it might seem insane, but this video is for you if you want to learn how to do it yourself. So now I've scrambled up the whole cube, and let's look at the types of pieces on the cube right before we get started into solving. So first there's the centerpiece. This is in the middle of the side, and these can't move. Like, no matter how you turn it, they can rotate in place, but they can't move spots, and this tells you what color goes on that side. So if this is the yellow centerpiece, which it is, then all the yellows will be on this side, so that's helpful to know. There's edge pieces. These have two colors on them that can't separate, and these go in between the colors on the edge. They go in between the centers of that color. So this green-orange edge goes between the green-orange centers. And then lastly, there's the corner pieces, similar to the edges, except they have three colors on them, and the three colors, again, go between their correct centers. So yellow, orange, blue goes between the yellow, orange, blue centers. So that's pretty much all you need to know right before we get into solving. So without further ado, well, let's get into solving. So after step 1 is complete, it should look like this. These 4 white edge pieces surround the yellow center and forming what people call the daisy. And this is what we'll teach you how to do first. So let's grab our other cube, and the daisy is not complete here. So how do you complete it? And there's 2 tips I can give you. 1, find the move that gets a specific white edge to the top layer in here. And also make sure not to break any daisy petals we create while we do this. So let's start with this white edge. We don't have to worry about the other color on it right now for this step. And there's already this white edge complete. And we can move this white edge into here like this, but that would unsolve that one. So what we gotta do is make sure that when we move this one up, it doesn't move this one away. So we can put a different edge in here so that we can move this up and this one stays a part of the daisy. So this is another white edge piece, and it's kind of in the same position but on the left side. And if we move it up to the daisy right here, it doesn't break any of these two, so that's good already. And finding the last one, it's down here. And for this one, if we move it up, we can move it up like this. By turning the front twice, it'll become part of the daisy, but that doesn't work because there's another white edge here again. So what you want to do is, we know when we turn the front twice, it's going to go up to here. So make sure this spot isn't white when you turn the front twice. So now this is not a white piece. You can turn the front twice, and now we have the daisy complete. So the second step after the daisy is to complete the white cross. And this is like you make all the white edges around the correct center in white this time, except these colors on the side line up with the correct center as well. So you know these edges are solved. So let's get our other cube. The daisy is complete here. And what we can do is now we can start to focus on the other color of the daisy petals. So this one is green, and this one happens to line up with this green. And so what you do if they're lined up, you will just turn the front 180 degrees, and that will get it to be part of this cross. There's one cross piece complete, and now what we could do is rotate the cube so there's different front color. And in this case, this is blue and this is red, and that does not match. So what you can do is you can turn the top until it does match. In this case, first try, this one matched. So we'll turn the front twice again. Now it's part of the cross. Rotate again. This one does not match with the blue. So we'll turn it again. This one's not even white. Another turn. And this one, the blues match. So we could turn the front 180 degrees again. We have 3 cross pieces done now. And now for the last one, this might be more obvious. It's the only one with the white still facing up. It belongs here. And then turn the front 180 degrees, and there is your cross complete. After you complete the white cross, you will then finish off the first layer, which is like a side, except all of these colors match around the sides of the cube. And how you'll do this is by solving the 4 white corners so that all the white pieces are now solved. And I'm going to get my cube with the white cross complete on it, and the corners are not complete. they are in random places. So what you'll do is you'll try to find a white corner on the top. In this case, this is the only one. And we'll show you how to deal with if there's none on the top later. But for this one, you'll look at the other two colors on it as well. And in this case, it's green and red. And you'll look at the two centers, this is between, it's blue and red. So that's not good. So we'll turn the top until it's between the correct centers, which this case would be green and red because this corner has green and red on it. Then we'll perform our first algorithm. And it's only 4 moves long, so algorithm is kind of a fancy way of saying just like a sequence of moves. And this one goes like this. So you turn the right side up like this, and then you turn the top this way, then you move the right side back down, and then you turn the top back. And in this case, it solved the corner between the correct centers in the first try, but this might not always happen. So let's move on. Here's another white corner, and this is white, orange, and green, and it's between the red and green centers. And the orange and green does not match red and green, so we'll turn it. And in this case, this one matches between the centers. So we'll do the algorithm again. And in this case, it's in the correct spot, but it's not like twisted correctly. And what you would do if it doesn't go in one try, you would just keep repeating it until it solves itself. So let's do it again. And again. And this time, it solves. And then this is white, orange, and blue. This is the one we're going to work on next. And this is between the green and orange centers, and blue and orange does not match green and orange. So again, we could turn it until it matches. And then we repeat the 4-move algorithm until it goes in, which in this case, will only need 1 repetition. And then this is the last one, and this one will go into here. It's the only one where there's not already a white corner in already. And then we can again repeat the sequence of moves until it's in the correct spot, in the correct way. Now it is, and we have completed the first layer. So let's say you're trying to complete the first layer, and in this case we have 3 of the 4 pieces done. But if you look on the top, there are no more white pieces on the top. And you might be wondering what we can do. Well, that's what I'm about to show you. So if it's on the last one and there are no more white pieces on top, it could be just in a different slot. It doesn't technically have to be the correct one, but it could be in a different slot. And how you can get this out of this position here is to do the same algorithm like this. And now it's on top, and in this case, it's between the correct centers already, so we can keep repeating it until it solves. And there we go, we've solved the first layer. So after the first layer, we're going to continue to move up in the cube, and this time we will complete the second layer, which is all of these edges here. So if you just cover up the bottom, it looks like you kind of have a solved cube, except for this whole thing here. But we'll get to how to solve that later. Right now, here's the second layer. So for the second layer, what you're going to start by doing is trying to find any non-yellow piece on top, specifically edges. So this is a non-yellow edge, and this is a non-yellow edge. So let's focus on this one for now. And what we'll do is we'll look at the color on the side. This one's red. And we'll try to align this color to the red center. In this case, that would be like this. You can just turn the top until it aligns, and it looked like this would kind of be like, I don't know, this line here from top to bottom. And what you'll do is you'll check which side this needs to go to. So, since it's red and blue, it needs to go between red and blue. And this is on the left side. So what we'll do is we'll start by moving this piece to the right side. So it's the opposite kind of. So after we move it to the opposite side, we'll do the sexy move that on the left side, or that the sexy move is just what the 4 moves are called. And that would be like this. So moving the left up here, turning the top this way, moving the left side back down, and turning the top back this way. Then, since we're starting on red, the other color is blue, so we'll rotate to blue, and then we'll do the right-hand version of that algorithm, which is just the normal 4 moves I taught you earlier, so like this. Now that may seem confusing, but with more practice, you'll be able to get this step done faster. And next piece I see is blue-orange right here, and specifically I want to line up the orange because that's on the side here. And if I turn here, then this does line up. This aligns with these colors, and this makes the line I was talking about earlier. And this one, this time, needs to go to the right side. So this is the other kind of case you can have, and we'll start by pushing to the left, like that. And then we'll start with the right sexy move instead of the left one. And again, the right sexy move is just the 4-move algorithm I taught you. It goes like this. And then we'll rotate to the other color on this piece, which is blue, so we'll have blue on the front now. And then we'll do the left-handed sexy move. Okay, so we have these two solved. Now let's look for another one. There's this one here. It's white and green. And if we want to align the green here, we'll have to turn it this way. And this one aligns, makes this line. And it needs to go to the left, because this is where the red-green centers are. So we'll push it to the right, and then we'll start with the left sexy move. And then we'll rotate to the other color, which is red, and do the right sexy move. Now, you'll notice we don't see any non-yellow pieces on the top anymore, and that's because this last one is flipped in place. And how to deal with this is just to do the right sexy move followed by left sexy move, or just, that basically means to pretend to solve another one. So let's pretend to solve this one into here. So we can align it like this. Even though this is not the correct one, this is the correct one, but this one we don't want to be in this position like that. So what we'll do is we'll move this one away, then we'll start with the right sexy move, and then the left sexy move like this after rotating to the other side. And now this one is out on the top, and you could solve it just like normally. So we can align it here, makes this line, and in this case it needs to go to the right, so we'll push it to the left first, and then we can do the right sexy move, and then rotate to the other color, which in this case is orange, and then do the left sexy move. And that solves the second layer. And this is kind of satisfying to do, but just to cover up the bottom here, and it looks like it's solved if you just cover up the bottom layer entirely, but we'll get on how to solve the last layer in just a second. So the next step after you make the first 2 layers is to make the yellow cross on top, or specifically just to get all of these yellow edges facing up, and we'll show you how to do that here. And it might not always be solved, there's a chance you skip the step, but for this is only 2 of them, and then these 2 are not facing up. So what you can do to get them facing up is we'll just learn one algorithm here, and it's to turn the front this way, like that, and then do the sexy move on the right side, like this, and then turn the front back. And that doesn't immediately solve the yellow cross, but if you have this line here, you want to hold it horizontal, then do this algorithm, and that makes the yellow cross. Now, back to the case we had earlier, I'm going to quickly set it up. This is not the exact case we had earlier, but it is still these 2 next to each other, and then these 2 are not oriented correctly. So what you would do is you would do the same thing, except after you turn the front, you do 2 right-handed sexy moves instead of 1, so like this. And then you turn the front back, and that makes the yellow cross. And so this is the last one you can get, and it is when there are no yellow edges facing up. And this one is annoying, but this is how you do it. So you do the same algorithm, which is turn the front this way, then do the sexy move and turn the front back, and you get a different case. In this case, it's these 2 next to each other. And then what you'll do is the same thing for these two next to each other, which is to hold them up here like 9 o'clock, and then turn the front this way, and then do 2 sexy moves, and then turn the front back, and that solves the yellow cross. So after you make the yellow cross on top, then you will align the colors on the sides to all match the centers, and we'll show you how to do this step here. So this is my cube, and for this one, these two are solved, but these two are not. They need to be in each other's places, and this is the most common case you can get. Of course, you can skip this step as well, but you will hold the 2 solved ones that are next to each other on the back and the right, and then you will perform this algorithm. You will do the first 3 of the 4 moves, or the first 3 moves of the sexy move like this. But instead of going this way for the sexy move, you will instead go this way. And then at the end, you will put it back in one motion by moving it up and then turning the top twice and then moving it back down. And then if you turn the top this way, it will align all of these edges. Now that may seem confusing, but with enough practice, this should be a fast algorithm for you. And this is not the only case you can get. This is another case you can get. It's where 2 opposites are lined up, but these 2 are not. And there's no algorithm you can use to solve this in one move. We're not going to teach you that, but what we are going to teach you is just to do that algorithm once, and then that will align 2 next to each other. So in this case, if we turn the top this way, these 2 are next to each other, and these 2 are not. So what we can do is hold these 2 in the back and right again, and then do the same algorithm. That goes like this. And then again, if you turn the top this way, all of these edges are in the correct spot. So the next step is to get all of the corners in the correct spot. And these corners aren't exactly twisted the correct way. These 2 need to be like twisted so yellow's on top. But theoretically, if you could twist the corners, you can solve this cube by just twisting the corners, but don't do that. So you will look for corners that you can like basically twist in place to solve. You don't want to twist the corners, but in this case, we can only find this one right here. If you twist this so yellow's on top, it will solve the corner. And what you'll do is you'll hold the solved corner on the front right here. Then you will do this algorithm. I promise this is the last algorithm you'll have to learn. And it will go like this. So you turn this way, and then you move the right side up. And then you go back the other way, and you move the left side up. And then you kind of like undo it, but like this. So you turn the top this way and move the right back down, then turn the top this way and move the left back down. In this case, these you can't twist to solve, but if you do this again, so like this, in this case, it solved all of them into the correct spot. Again, not exactly twisted correctly, but they are in the correct spot. And for this one, we can't find any of them in the correct spot. And what you'll do is you'll just perform the same algorithm from anywhere, because it doesn't really matter since none of them are solved. And then that will solve one of them. In this case, this one. So what we can do is we can do the same algorithm like this until it solves all of them. There we go. So the last step in solving the Rubik's Cube is to twist these corners to solve, but not like actually twisting the corners. This is how you're going to do it. You're going to flip the cube upside down, so white is on top now, and you'll look at the corner on the bottom right. And what you're going to do is repeat the sexy move on the right side until yellow faces down. So there's once, it doesn't face down. There we go, it's facing down in the correct spot. You always got to make sure you complete the 4 moves every time. And this next part is super important. Instead of rotating the cube to put the next piece on the bottom right, you will just turn the bottom layer to put the next piece in the bottom right. So we'll do the same thing for this one. We'll repeat the sexy move until it is solved in the right spot. There we go. This one is now facing down and solved. Now moving on to this one. That didn't work. And this time it worked. And now we're on to our last one. And if you did this all right, this last one should just solve. And now you can just solve the cube in one move. And that is the Rubik's Cube completed.